Here is a small individual of Cornus drummondii, the stiff leaf or rough leaf dogwood. It has some hairs on the surface of the leaf, and when you scrape it from tip of the leaf to the base, it gives a little bit of a very scabrous feel to it. These leaves are still expanding, so you can kind of feel it, but it's not super rough yet, but that'll get there. It has flowers very similar to Cornus stricta, very different habitat, whereas Cornus stricta prefers wet habitats. We are in a little calcareous rich woodland here, and that's the preferred habitat of Cornus drummondii, very high pH calcareous soils. When we're looking at the leaves themselves, it's going to have your classic dogwood leaf. When we pluck a pair of leaves here, you're going to see got our arcuate venation that we are familiar with in dogwoods, and opposite leaves. And one of the things here, it has 4 or fewer lateral veins coming off of the midrib. Some of the other dogwoods have 5 or more. This one has 4 or fewer, and that sort of helps this differentiate that a little bit. It has a very different fruit than the other dogwoods in our area, very different from Cornus stricta, very different from Cornus florida. If we go here and look at the bark, again, this is a young individual, and it's going to have a little bit of that blockiness that we see with dogwood, but you'll see not so much, not as much as we see with, say, Cornus florida for sure, and really not as much as we see with Cornus stricta. Almost like lateral plates, almost like if it were baby white oak bark, almost, if you were to think of it that way, with the smaller plates. But that's fairly distinctive for Cornus drummondii. So habitat, the fact that it's a dogwood, the surface of that leaf, later on in the year when we see the fruits, helps us to identify Cornus drummondii and keep it separate from the other dogwoods. Here is a small Cornus drummondii in bloom. As you can see, it has similar flowers to that of Cornus stricta. It flowers just a little bit later, and it'll have different colored fruits. And again, if you could feel that leaf, very rough, scabrous leaf surface, it separates it from Cornus stricta.